Hello friends, this is Yrvind, and now this thing is glued and the edges are rounded. Now I'm going to make them stronger with carbon. So here is the carbon, and I wet them out here, and that's just for, and I cut out the plastic and I transfer them with that. That get distorted. And this is one, and over there is for the other one. So, hello friends, this is today's work. Reinforcing the corners with carbon. On this one, I use glass fiber. That works too. But I think it's stronger. Well, it's much stronger with carbon because this is 600 grams. The glass fiber was 450, and carbon has much lower density than glass fiber. So the thickness at least twice as much. So this will dry over the night, and then tomorrow, I'm gonna try to fix this cleats thing. That's a critical one, because it has to come in the right position, but we'll do it. So, a good thing is this, and thank you. Hello friends. After Cape Leeuwin in aluminium boat, I came back to Sweden in 1981. And in my mother's garden, first breeze was standing there. 1976, I tried to sell her. I tried to sell her again and again and again. And for 7 years, no one been interested. And in the summer, I did a bit of sailing with her when I was in Sweden. And then in Newport, they were starting up this museum of yachting in Fort Adams. And Tom Benson did the start of the museum, and I knew him. And we decided that, well, Greece would be a good thing to get there. But to get her there, I decided to sail her. And in the month of May, I started from Sweden. I sailed up the Norwegian coast, and from there out across the North Sea between Shetland and Orkney, and out to the Atlantic down towards the Azores. At that time, I was living with a French girl, Martine. She was very nice, but she had a lot of energy, and well, in fact, extremely much, and she must do things all the time, And so she came with me, we started sailing, and but she was also very jealous and hard to focus all the time, and there was a lot of fighting, and she had a lot of temperament. And often she didn't agree. Well, Sven, she said, I'm leaving you. I go back to France. Okay, I said, and I drove her to the railway station. She took the train back to France. And but then after a week or two, I started receiving letters. Well, she was in fact missing me, and maybe it was not so bad, and if she could come back, would be fine. So she came back, and these things happened quite a few times. And now at sea, well, she had a lot of energy in this little boat, and not much thing happened. So started a quarrel again. Well, I said, we sailed to the Azores, and then you go back to France again. So we did, but it took a few days before we could arrange with the airplane and everything. But then she went away. So I started sailing again, and from the Azores to Newport, I went across the Sargasso Sea. It was very little wind, but I liked that, and it was very pleasant seeing. I had plenty of food, I got plenty of books, I kept reading, I kept swimming. Here's one picture. Here's from the side. And it was very, very, very quiet and nice, and it was very little shipping. But one day, I had a radar detector, and it made a signal, and I had a VHF. I talked to them, and I said, and what nationality are you? Well, I'm Swedish, I said. No, I said, I mean, what's your nationality? I'm Swedish. So, in fact, they were Swedish and I was Swedish, and we started talking. And they said, well, you need anything? Well, I said, I don't really need anything, but some fruit would sure be nice, and potatoes. Okay, so they come alongside and pull down some bags and things like this. And then they went away again, and after a little while, I heard a voice on the VHF again. Do you like to have some whiskey? They said. Well, thank you very much, but I never drink alcohol, I said. And but it was very kind of them. So they went away, and I kept sailing, and I kept sailing, and it was very light wind. And here she is again. We're swinging around in a nice warm water. Sure, Sargasso Sea is a very, very nice place, you know. I often hope to come back to that or some other place like that where the high pressure is all the time. Well, finally, this was 1983, and America's Cup gonna start. So I thought it would be nice to see the America's Cup. America had the cup for, I think it was maybe over 130 years. And they've been challenging and everyone, you know, wanted to take it, but no one succeeded. Well, in the end, I came to the Newport, and I came, in fact, the same day as America Cup races started. The first race came, and I came in the afternoon, and all the boats were returning. There was plenty of them. So I sailed up to Fort Adams. They had a little basin there, but the man in charge of it, you know, I said, get away, get away. This is not the place for you. This is just for a museum. I told him, this boat is intended for a museum. No, he didn't believe me. No, he said, this is just a little boat, and didn't really look like a boat for a museum. But I said it was. No, he said. But I said, well, phone Tom Benson, the director. So he went away, not looking very happy. But then after 5-10 minutes, he was back. Well, in fact, it's true. He'll be down here in a few minutes. So he came down, Tom Benson, in a big car, and with him he had a nice girl. And I said, and the girl, she said, hello, Sven, and she rushed up and hugged me, and kind of like, you know, very intimate hugging, you know, not just like someone would do. So I didn't want to get into trouble with him, so I pushed her away. I thought, maybe this is some girl I knew from before, because I lived in Newport many times, and I knew quite a few people there. I thought, this is some of the girls like that. Well, anyway, we tied up the boat, and he said, come with me, you know, we go home to my place. And in the car, the girl said, Sven, don't you recognize me? No, I said, who are you? I'm your wife, she said. I'm Martin. Well, the thing is, I'm dyslectic, but not only dyslectic, I cannot really recognize faces. I got an excellent memory, superb memory, but it works in another way. It's like a functional memory. So there she was, my wife, and she had kind of changed her mind again, and now she wanted to back again. So that kept on until finally. So, but the races were doing, and well, America, if I remember, they won the first race, and then there was another race that they win that too, and there was a third race, they win that too. And the first one to win 4 races would be the real winner. And America had the cup for over 100 years, so it was very unlikely anyone else. But on the 4th race, in fact, Australia did one race. Well, that was not too bad because more races to do. But then there was more race, and the 5th race, Australia won again. Well, this was a bit more serious. But then there was another race, and then it was free, and it was the last race. Well, America started with the Condor getting the lead, and she was leading all the way around the triangles, one way, one round. But the strange thing was, at the very last one, Australia went around and came up first. So that was very interesting to see. And this is just a little bit about Breeze. And she was at the Museum of Yachting there for many years. And people saw her tell while she's there. But now people say she's not there anymore. I don't know what happened to her, but she's gone. So anyway, that's the end of Breeze.